everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm Taylor.
I'm Blanca, and today is
Wicked Wine Wednesdays, where we talk about true crime and sample wines.
Today we'll be discussing the Arne Johnson case.
So if you like wine and true crime, don't forget to
Like, comment, and subscribe.
I just want to remind you guys that we will be talking about the wines that we tried at the end of the video, so if you're interested in that, stay tuned until then. I also want to remind you guys that we will be posting a video every other Wednesday, so let's dive in. So you guys, were almost to 200 subscribers. Very, very close. So if we get to 200 subscribers, we will be doing a little giveaway. We will be making a custom wine glass or wine tumbler, or she will, and it'll say wine and true crime. And there'll be a special little something in there for you guys as well. So get us to 200 subs. Just share our videos and
share it, like it, subscribe it.
Yeah, so if you're subscribed and you share our video and you like it and leave a comment down below, we'll choose somebody for the giveaway. Let's do it.
Excited.
So we wanted to talk about this case because I recently saw the new Conjuring movie, The Devil Made Me Do It. She's scared of scary movies, which is funny because we have like a true crime channel, but she doesn't watch scary movies. So I saw it.
Talking about it, and I like to hear about it, and I like to have my own visual. I don't like going to the movies where it's like super loud and the music is played specifically to increase my heart rate, and I'm sitting there thinking I'm about to die, and I'm wondering why the hell they're not running the other way.
Yes, but moral of the story, she doesn't watch scary movies, but I do. I watch them for us. But I went and saw this movie, and obviously it says like based on a true story, and I was like, is it really though? Because, you know, some scary movies, they do that, like they'll say, oh, it's based on a true story, and it's not. It's just to like get people scared. But this actually is, and it's a real case of a man named Arne Cheyenne Johnson, and it's pretty intense. So if you guys haven't seen the movie yet, maybe you should. And obviously, I'm not sure how much of the movie is real based on this case, but we did our research to get as much information as we can.
More as accurate as possible, but obviously they have to add the dramatic flair.
They have to make it a bit
so scary. I think some things are more exaggerated.
Yeah. So Arne Cheyenne Johnson, he was born in 1962. And he was dating a woman named David Glatzel. And David Glatzel had a younger brother named David. And they started to notice that David was acting off. And both her and Arne say that they never really believed in this whole spiritual stuff or this whole demon possession thing. But I guess Debbie's dad really did. So he started to believe that David was possessed. So he called for Ed and Lorriane to come in and do some type of exorcism on this little boy. He was 8 at the time. And they came in, and I guess they saw all these scratches and bruises on him that were coming out of nowhere. And he was acting very erratic. So they decided they were going to do this exorcism on him. And in the movie, obviously, they play it out that this kid is like super possessed and he's like twisting and turning in all these ways. I don't know if that was really happening, you know, I wasn't there. They don't have like real footage from it. But from...
I'd be terrified if there was real footage. I'm out.
Oh yeah, no. But obviously, if that's what was happening, then it makes sense on why they would think he's possessed. Ed and Lorriane started doing this exorcism, and they were trying to expel, I guess, apparently 42 demons that were dwelling inside of David's body. And it was a horrific time for the family and for David, I'm sure. They ended up succeeding in this exorcism, and everybody was obviously very happy. But shortly after, Arne started acting a little weird.
The exorcism of David took place on July 18th. I think it's been stated that like 10 to 12 days after the exorcism took place is when Arne started to show signs of just being very weird himself. And then it got to the point where it was like if he was drunk, it was more noticeable, which was really odd, but who knows? I feel like it would just maybe been an angry drunk situation, but who knows?
Yeah.
Now, in October of 1980, Lorraine Warren called the Brookfield police to let them know that she had a feeling that something terrible was going to happen to the Glatzel family because she believed that the demon had taken full possession of Arne by this point. Now, fast forward till 4 months. On February 16th of 1981, it started off as pretty much just any other day for Arne, and he was actually hanging out with his landlord, Alan Bono, and I believe he owned like the kennels that that Debbie worked at underneath too.
Mm-hmm.
It was like underneath their like house, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. And earlier in the day, they had gone to a cafe. People said that everything between them was normal, that at one point Arne was even calling Alan like his friend. So it just really seems weird that they get some coffee, and then they end up going to a bar and getting some drinking, and then they go back to the house, and this is where Arnie's behavior started to become more sinister and erratic. Now, it's said that there was an argument between Arne and Alan over a female. Over what female, though? No one has any idea. No one's been able to pinpoint, this is the girl everybody fought over. Nothing.
In the movie, it was Debbie, obviously, because that's
I was gonna say
Arnie's girlfriend. But who knows? Who knows? We can't make assumption. But in the movie, it was his
I was gonna
girlfriend.
say, I feel like it would be that way.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know, because even everybody at the trial was like, we have no clue. Now, Arne then proceeds to stab Alan over 20 times with his pocket knife.
After he had stabbed Alan, he was found walking up the street all bloody from the police, and they obviously took him in, and he seemed to be like in shock, but he was like kind of calm too. It was almost like he knew what he did but also didn't, and people were like, this is weird. And so Ed and Lorraine came in, and they went to the court, and they were like, this wasn't him, he didn't do this. And they came with the possession defense. And this had never been done in the United States. And I think there was 2 other court cases that have done this, and it was in Europe or somewhere over there. But they were like, we can't push this. And Ed and Lorraine are like, we will prove it to you. We will do all these things. And it wasn't him. So initially, they were trying to serve Arne with life. They wanted him to serve life in prison. And Ed and Lorraine weren't going to let that happen because they firmly believe that Arne was possessed by these demons or whatever demon that had came out of David. And I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Like, you just went through this possession thing with this kid, and then like the kid seems to be fine, and now this other person's acting weird, and they're like involved in the same family. Like, you would think like, yeah, that makes sense.
And I mean, it is known for demonic like entities to transfer from one being to another, especially when they're being, is exercise the right word?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's true, if it's just in the movie, but they in the movie, and also we've read like articles about it, but they could just be quoting from the movie. They were saying that Arne had kind of taunted the demons and David, and basically was saying, take me instead. Like, I want you to take me because you need to leave David alone. And if that's the case, maybe the demon was like, all right,
let me take you up on that offer.
Yeah, and went for it. But I don't know, it's kind of sad because what if he did just snap over this argument and then like there's this like case of, I don't know. Anyway, so they tried to initially go for life, and they ended up sentencing him for only 10 to 20 years and charged him with manslaughter, which Also, it's kind of weird because there wasn't really a court case that tried to prove his possession or anything like that. They just all came to the agreement of manslaughter. There was
I
like
think they were trying to go for like a
self-defense.
self-defense
Mm-hmm.
because I think at the last minute the judge decided that they weren't going to be able to go with the possession case because they were like, no, like we're not doing that. Like we're done with this.
Yeah.
And so then they were like trying to do self-defense, but that was like the weakest case possible.
Yeah, because like how you gonna have self-defense when you pull out your own pocket knife?
Yeah, they were gonna try and say that it was Alan that was holding it, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, like they were trying
Come on.
I think they were trying to get away from the whole demonic possession thing because I don't think America wants to accept that. I don't know. But he ended up only serving 5 years, and apparently he was let out for good behavior, which, like, you just killed somebody and you're let out on good behavior. I think Ed and Lorraine pulled some strings and were like, he's possessed, and they probably did take that possession claim seriously and let him out early. But the cool thing is that Arne and Debbie got married in prison, and I think they're still alive and they're still married to this day. So that's cute. But, like, this case is so interesting because it's like, was he possessed? Was he not?
One of the things that I heard was one of the things that he would do, I don't know if it was David or if it was Arne, but one of the things that they would do, like when the devil was possessing them or the demon was possessing them, was their head would go all the way down to like their chest and then would come back like really slowly, and then the whole family would be like, yeah, it doesn't look normal. And then he would start to like do like growls and like, I was like, that's really interesting. And then another one of the little things that I had heard was during the trial or like while they were in court with Arne, like the room lights would randomly start to like flicker. And I'm like, that is pretty weird. But if it's a really small town and it's just one of those like rinky-dink courts, I feel like they're always going to be flickering.
Yeah, and I'm wondering too, like, did they end up, I didn't really find any information on it, but I'm wondering if they ended up doing an exorcism on him or what, or like he just
I never found anything out on that.
Me either. Like, did he just serve his time in prison and like the devil decided to leave because he didn't like want to be in prison anymore?
Maybe.
I don't know. I guess Arne had told his sister that he was having these daily and nightly visions of the devil, and he would refer to this presence as the master and the beast. And this was like just a few days before Mr. Bono or Alan Bono was murdered. So I think there was like fair warning there, but I mean, he was acting normal pretty much the whole time. And that's the difference with him and David, is like David was like full blown acting possessed, and it seemed like Arne was just like going about his regular day. Like,
no, I think there was reports of Debbie saying that he had like his moment. Like I said, it was a lot of it would be when he would be drinking.
Yeah.
So then it was almost like I said, were you just an angry drunk? Like,
yeah, so it could, who knows, but I don't know. Like, so it's either he was possessed or he wasn't, and that's like the weirdest thing about this case, because like they said, there's no possession case that's ever been done. So it's like, do you believe in that stuff or no? Because if you don't, then you just see this as this guy murdered somebody and got away with it pretty much. And if you do, you see it as like this guy spent time in prison for something he didn't do. So it's like very iffy. Yeah, because it's like I kind of believe in that stuff, but also I don't. So it's like I want to believe that he was maybe possessed, but
I don't know. I think demon possession is like a real thing, and I'm out. Like, yeah. Honestly, I always I'm like, no.
There's so many movies that have come out about possession, though. It's hard to say that they're not real, because if there's so many movies made about it, it has to be real. Just like aliens, like they make all these movies about aliens and all this stuff in space. It has to be real. But then I could say the same thing about zombies, and zombies aren't real yet. But
coming up in what was it that everybody said, 2032?
Yeah. They're not real yet, but it's they're just letting you know that it might come. After the incident and all of this came out, I guess David Glatzel and his brother Carl Glatzel tried to sue Ed and Lorraine for coming out with this book called The Demon Murder Case. And Carl had said that it was this whole demon possession thing was a hoax, and they were trying to make money off of David's mental illness, that it wasn't even a real thing. And I mean, David Glatzel was a part of that too, but Ed and Lorraine had these defendants that came in and said, there was like these 6 priests came in and said, no, this boy was possessed and the supernatural events are real and this actually took place. So I don't know, the dad of the Glatzel family says that he never told them that that the boy was possessed. Which, why was Ed and Lorraine there then? You know, like, I don't know. I mean, it's sad to think that
she
maybe
just drove around to people.
Yeah, like,
you are possessed.
Are you guys possessed? We'll take the demon out of you.
Well, no. Remember, she's clairvoyant, so she can hear and see things. Knows. So she's probably was just being led to them and was like going up to them and like, you are possessed. Yeah, I must cure you.
I mean, according to Debbie, which is part of the Glatzel family too, said that like they actually came in because her father believed in this stuff, and then he's turning around suing them, saying that he never told them that he was possessed. So it's like kind of weird.
They're all mad because they wrote like a book about it, and now it went from being like this like little like private like affair between the family to now like this whole like full blown like,
yeah, because I'm sure not a lot of people, like, some people make fun of people for like believing in these possessions and stuff, you know, and so maybe they're like, oh, you ruined our life because people think like we're stupid,
and then that was the other thing that I heard too, was that, okay, so I guess like they were like in a small town like where everybody knows everybody obviously, and that this was like the first homicide case in that town.
Yeah, and like
so
forever.
At first, like all the cops that like said everything, they were even saying themselves how it was like a super weird, like there were weird occurrences, that he was doing the snarling thing, and then the flickering lights, obviously they were trying to get that too. But then by the time I think like the trial came or something like that, all of them said like changed it and said that it was just perfectly a routine shut in case like type of case or whatever, or shut and closed type of case.
Yeah, because they wanted to open that book.
Well, then they were like, well, that's really odd for them to use the word routine, especially when it was the town's first homicide.
Exactly. Like, you guys are trying to cover something up.
Right? Like, you guys were all like, looked at all the evidence and you're like, I ain't touching that. Nope.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously a lot of people did believe that he was possessed. And
what if they just wanted to not do the possession because they were so afraid that if it was, that it would just like transfer to one of them for being involved, and so that they were just like, again, like if it was me, I'd be like, nope, I'm out, and just run the other direction.
Yeah, it's a murder case, it's okay, well, don't worry about it.
He murdered him, plead insanity, call it a day.
Yeah, I don't know, I think that they were scared, you know, especially back then. Like, back then I feel like this whole possession thing and like clairvoyancy and all that was like a huge thing back then, and like a lot of people,
I think now people are more open to it, but yeah, definitely back then
it was a lot scarier.
Like, it was probably like the logic, you're a witch. I'm gonna be honest.
Kind of.
And that was only in the 80s, so like, that wasn't even that long ago.
It wasn't, but a lot has changed. But I feel like back then, like the whole demon possession and stuff was like scary to a lot of people, and I feel like now people are like scared of it, but we're kind of like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
No, now you have all the idiots just trying to mess with them. Like, leave them alone.
Yeah. I feel bad that we've been like kind of laughing this whole thing, because like obviously somebody did die, but it's just like such an interesting case, and there's so many like avenues you could take, because obviously it's like either he did or he didn't, and like it's not a joke, we're not joking about it, but there's just so many different directions to look at this. And so it's just,
and some of them are just
easy to talk
silly
about
when you look at them. Like, you think about it and you're like, that.
Yeah, this case was a lot easier to talk about than a lot of our cases, even though somebody did get murdered, which is kind of nice. I think we needed a little
I mean, it's never easy talking about murder, and especially when they're all gruesome. But it's like this one is interesting. It's another famous one, but there's no detail to it. There's really no like conclusive idea. They weren't even able to prove a motive. Like I said, they tried saying it was over some girl, but they were like, who's the girl? And of course, for the movie purposes, they're like, it'll be Debbie. Was it actually over Debbie? Who knows?
Do you guys believe in this stuff? Do you believe that he was possessed? Do you believe that maybe he just lost it after drinking and they got in an argument and he couldn't take it anymore and killed him?
It's really hard not to believe in possession. Like, there's poltergeist. Like, if we can believe in a poltergeist, like, how can you not believe in, like, demonic possession? Yeah. Like, a poltergeist is, like, maybe, like, a step up from demonic possession. Okay, or maybe, like, below. Because, like...
Okay, but poltergeist is also something that, like, do you believe in it or do you not? Let us know what you guys think. It was a short one. There's not much information about it because, obviously... The court case, there wasn't much to go off of. They were basically like, yeah, you're guilty, you're getting charged with manslaughter, and that's kind of that. But
I think the one thing I heard was that literally it was like there was like a trial, but there was really like no defense or argument, and like they were just kind of like, can we just convict the dude?
Time to end this video on a more positive note. We're going to talk about the wines that we tried and let you know what we think.
Editor Taylor here. So I guess that we weren't recording when we talked about the wine, or at least when I talked about my wine. So we don't have that, but I'll show you the wines that we did try. And we tried this one called Dark Side. And then we tried this other one called Apothic Merlot. There's a little snippet of Blanca talking about hers, but sorry, enjoy that.
Has some notes of vanilla, oak. I was gonna say oak and butter, but it's oak and butter.
I didn't taste any butter.
I was gonna say, what the hell is oak butter? Well, these days, you never know.
True.
There's blackberry, blueberry, and then it also pairs very, very well with... It is your beef, lamb, and veal. So again, if you like dinner and you don't like cabs, try the Merlot.
Yeah. And hers had like the taste notes information. I couldn't find the taste notes information on mine. Maybe I could guess. Let's see. How good am I? There's a little bit of oak in there.
Thank you everybody for watching, and we can't wait to see you next Wednesday. Bye!